What would you do if your husband joined a cult? I got home from work one day to find my husband Jeff on a phone call in his office. As I walked past his cracked door, I heard something that stopped me cold. My wife will fall in line or I'll make her. Don't worry. There was cruelty in his tone, a darkness that sent chills down my spine. I knocked on his door. Jeff, what are you talking about? He slammed his phone down on his desk when I pushed the door open, his eyes dark as he glared at me with a heated expression. What are you doing home so early? I thought you didn't get off until 3. I frowned. It is 3. He sighed. How much did you hear? I was wondering what you were talking about. What will I fall in line about? He shook his head. Get changed. We're going out tonight, he said. He tossed a wrapped box on the desk. Change into this. Now. There was no room for argument in his tone. I grabbed the box and took it to our bedroom where I unwrapped it to reveal a white flowing dress. I frowned in confusion. His behavior was starting to concern me. He was becoming more withdrawn, private phone calls, going out every week without me, hanging out with some coworkers outside of work. He stopped touching me at home and sleeping in the same bed as me. At first I thought he might be cheating on me, but after following him a few times I came to the conclusion that he just must be very busy at work in some kind of club. He would often go to this club on the edge of town, Eternal Grace. I never went inside, but I saw him greeting people as he entered the building. I wondered why he didn't tell me about this place, but he continued keeping me in the dark. I wondered if this was going to be the night he would finally introduce me to this part of his life. I got dressed in the white dress and put my hair in a bun. Jeff joined me after a moment and nodded in approval, a satisfied look on his face. We hopped in the car and drove to the club where he took my hand and led me inside. I tried pulling away once we reached the building, but his hand tightened on me and he led me to the front row. The women were all dressed in white and the men all wore black suits. It was very strange and oddly uniformal. We sat in the front row and a man dressed in white pants and a white shirt stood at the podium and began preaching about women's roles to the man. Women are meant to just have children for the man. Women are supposed to serve the man. Women are supposed to keep the house clean and look after the many children she will give the man. I was completely shocked. I glanced at Jeff and saw that he was completely immersed in the speech. He leaned forward and was holding on to every word. Every person in this building seemed to be in awe of this speaker, while I was disgusted. I leaned closer to Jeff. I'm leaving, I said coldly. I turned to get up, but he slammed his hand down on my leg, trapping me in the pew. You aren't going anywhere, he snarled. We need you here. The speaker finally raised his hands. Bring forth the sacrifice, he ordered. She will be the reason why we are blessed this season. Jeff rose to his feet and grabbed my arm. Dragging me to the front of the club, I started shaking as Jeff forced me to my knees in front of the preacher. The man stepped forward and placed his hands on my head, saying a prayer. I was starting to think this was a cult. How on earth did Jeff get mixed up with these people? The speaker stared down at me with no remorse on his face as he produced a sharp knife. I struggled against Jeff, who held me tightly. Hurry up, he hissed to the man. I can't hold her much longer. Before the guy could lunge forward, the church doors suddenly burst open and in strolled several police officers and FBI agents. The members of the cult began running and screaming, but none of them escaped. One of the cops tackled Jeff, releasing me from his grasp. I stumbled to my feet and stepped back, watching my husband struggle against the cuffs that the cops were snapping on his wrists. Help me, he called to me. I shook my head. You did this to yourself, I said icily. I watched them put my husband and the speaker and every person in the cult behind bars. There was no redemption for them.